Most leadership content today on the internet, the books, or the resources, it is mainly on communication, confidence, influence. If you ask me, those are not the answer. They are not the answer. We are having a misconception that if your leadership needs to be settled or leadership has to be taken up, you're supposed to work on your communication, you're supposed to work on your confidence, you're supposed to work on your influence. No, it is never about these things. Leadership is always about owning the decision. It is always about being responsible. I know many smart people. I interact with them daily. But what is happening that they're too good at a job, they're just like God at the job, but they are unable to see what they're supposed to answer to. Whenever there is a crisis, whenever the decision to be made, they always hesitate. They speak well, they articulate well, everything. But at leadership, they suck. I do know a person who happens to be a manager, but whenever there is a crisis, even though him being a leader, he articulates so good. He's able to explain good. He's able to present well. He's able to influence well, but he's unable to take a decision. Why? Because they become more and more hesitant. There is a fear. What if it goes wrong? What if I make a mistake? Isn't it? Because of that, many a times they hesitate to become that person. What do they do instead? They form committees, they delay the process, right? And most important, they always seek for alignment. Alignment in a sense that they always look for options to avoid the very responsibility. Because of this, many a times they feel that thinking is always good. Thinking is safe. I'm thinking I'm safe. But it is never about that. Thinking is always safe, but decision is dangerous. Decision is responsible. I'll give you a scenario now. Okay. You tell me what would you do? Okay. The scenario is I will not be naming any person or company's name. This is a real situation which has happened. This company is one of the big, big 10 minutes delivery company. Okay, they have a huge presence across India. What they happen to find out in one of their recent studies, in terms of expenditure, they are spending too much of money on marketing, logistics, tech, everything. But they are still unable to, they are still unable to become the top two player. Because of this reason, they are thinking, where are we going wrong? The person who is sitting at the top, the CEO, or even a person who is at the MD, right? What has happened? This has brought a new headache to them. They're not even the top three now, right? So the CEO had called for a meeting. He told to the people, means the managers, senior managers, I want you guys to take a decision now. Why we are not becoming the top player? And the product team was also called, the logistics team, the supply chain team, every team were called. But what has happened that they were given with a deadline of 48 hours. They're supposed to come up with a decision, an action plan. Because of this, Every leader, a person who is at a VP level or at a senior manager level, they become more and more like panicked. What happened? Even though them being at that stature, even though carrying 3 to 18 years of experience, they're unable to perform. They didn't take any decision. What will you do? What would you do? The situation of being in a being in a company, having held a position of a director or a VP, now the CEO has told you, you might be a senior manager as well. Okay, now the CEO has told you are supposed to come up with an action plan to become the top two player. The team is trying to conduct many internal meetings, right? You're wasting your time on internal meetings. You are looking for alignment. You are hiding behind the process. So you're trying to seek a reason. Do you call this leadership? Just think, what would you do in that situation? The team is also not answering to you. If you want, you can also comment on it. You can put it in the chat box. What would you do? So we always take a reason to avoid this. That is not leadership. Leadership is always about owning the decision, having a predictive judgment towards uncertain situation, being responsible for the outcomes, even though it might be wrong, it might be like completely bad, worst, anything, beat anything, right? So leadership is not always about being right. Leadership is about being answerable. Leadership is about accountable. The decision which you have taken, it will be there on your plate. Nobody can save you in that decision, in that situation. That is leadership. You can speak well, you can present well, you can influence well. I'm telling you, confidence is visible. Communication is teachable. Influence is learnable. Leadership, it's rare. You know why companies will have smart people, but they have less leaders? It is because of the very reason that it involves ownership, accountability, responsibility. Leadership has that requirement. You are responsible, you are accountable, you are completely in ownership of the decision what you made, right? I don't believe in leadership taught through or leadership conveyed through slides, decks, motivation. No, I don't think that leadership can be taught through inspiration. It is forged only through responsibility. You never know actually. When a situation comes, I'm telling you, you might be an individual who is pursuing your job or you are literally having 3 to 18 years of experience. You might be at a different level at your company. Leadership is always about you owning the very decision. It looks so hard to take a decision. It comes with a lot of challenges. The challenges is uncertainty, but the reward is high. Even though the decision what you took, if you fail, that's a different outcome. But what if the momentum gets lost if you didn't take a decision? It's a huge change in anybody's perspective. Leadership is not personality, leadership is a behavior. So, leadership ultimately it is about ownership of the decision.